Grab a bucket and a mop. Those are some winning ass Patriots. Hello, welcome to Pat's Pals as we are reconvening after the Patriots put a beat down against the I say beat down, a 1 point victory over the Atlanta Falcons at the weekend. But a win is a win. And I don't know. These Cardi B vibes are coming around the team. You know, who needs Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce when we have Stefon Diggs and Cardi B? But watching the game of Robert Kraft on the weekend. What incredible sight, Skye Pank, my co-host, joining me this evening.
Hello. Was it a TD party? TD party. What was
The way she said it means she was quite obviously trying to make it sound like a different word. There
I don't think
wasn't
I did it
TD.
properly, but was it like the
Is that not his celebration? Is that you
yeah or
just like
that?
that?
That's it. Well, yeah, a wave.
We are such unks, aren't we? Even look, this is my new Patriots fleece, by the way. This is a vintage thing, but it's the kind of thing that's worn by like somebody who like doesn't spend any money every year just so we can have a boat, so we can go on a boat 1 week a year, living in New England, and he keeps it like in the shed all year. That's the vibe I'm bringing to this podcast today.
We are in our unk era, and I mean, even lately, when I was staying with friends of mine, their daughter telling me about this 6'7" thing. I mean, I can't believe I've even said that on the episode. Like, what is this?
Tony Romo was saying that, and Tony Romo, who's commentating this weekend's game, by the way, good to mention. Tony Romo was making a 6'7" joke to Jim Nantz for the Broncos Cowboys game last week, and I was
I'm
like,
not happy with
"Where?
that.
No, I'm not either. Where are you going, pal?" I don't know. He's now my second favorite Romo after, of course, the kicker Romo missed a point extra, a PAT attempt for the Falcons at the weekend. So,
It turns
firstly,
out, sorry, Shane, remember in the offseason when I said, why do you draft a kicker? Sorry, Borregales. I mean, it's worked out. That's why you do, because, you let the guy go who then misses the game-tying PAT.
I think he knows. I think maybe he secretly wants to be back in Foxborough. I mean, if he misses that kick like that, somebody who is in the dressing room knows what it is to be a New England Patriot, sees the 6 titles on the wall, sees you know, the 28-3 and all this, and he knows. He knows. Maybe he missed it on purpose. I don't know.
Yeah.
But look, let's go back in this game because you had a closer look at it than I did because I was running a function, whereas I've moved into a new setup. Congratulations, by the way, where
Thank you, mate.
you are in a cinematic mode. You were able to see everything in like so big actually that you might as well have been in Foxborough. Listen, how close you are to your massive TV. Like
It
it's
was
just
like, that immersive LA thing when they showed Old Trafford. Yeah, it's like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. That's what it looked like. So I was very jealous of seeing you looking at that. But the tail of this game, and we won't touch on it for too long because we have to look ahead to
Mhm.
Pat's Buccaneers. Tail of this game is obviously Drake May giving over 2 turnovers, which is slightly unlike him. Travion Henderson not being explosive. Terrell Jennings getting the touchdown. It's a reverse on what I predicted, in that I predicted this would be a slow start and a fast finish for the Patriots offense. It turned out to be the exact opposite of that.
Mhm.
So yeah, tell me about how what it is from this game that is there anything that you worry about, anything you are that made you sort of look at this weekend's game differently because of something maybe we haven't seen from the Patriots so far.
I mean, obviously, as a fan, you would rather win each week convincingly, right? But I think actually deep down, you like these close wins because it shows a bit of grit, determination, resilience, all the adversity, overcoming that, all of those little buzzwords. But it's true because we know how the narrative's been, and even Vrabel was getting asked after the game on a couple of like Boston podcasts and radio shows that I was watching about, people mentioning about the schedule, people saying this and that, and it's easy. And he's like, I don't get how people say that. We all have the same money to spend in the off season. We play who's in front of us, and that's what we did. And I mean, and I think that was I think it was quite insulting to the Falcons, given the talent that they have on their defense, even offensively. Like you look at the game Drake London had, but yeah, I think that the main takeaway for me was obviously for Drake, mate. Even though he did commit that turnover, which then led to a one-score game, and it was a bit of a shaky second half, to still finish the game with that streak of over 100 passer yard rating, the 200 plus passing yards, that still continues. And the fact that he led the drive to seal the game for us to kneel it out, as opposed to relying on the defense, I think that's great. I mean, he was beating himself up after the game, but Stefon Diggs put his arm around him. And whilst people will still say certain things, I just think even in moments when there was like a few key 3rd and 10s, 3rd and 7s after a few sacks. He was just like, he was still composed, so he shouldn't beat himself up too much.
Yeah, the other nothing's going to not beating yourself up too much is an interesting aspect of this, because when you see the different style of coaching, we talk about how we're giving our Unk vibes. Of course, at UNC at the moment is Bill Belichick, sort of not that hasn't been going well in terms of how he's interacting with people of the new generation and how they have to be coached. It was interesting seeing Mike Vrabel on the sideline talking to Drake May and sort of getting down to his level and sort of doing a bit of sort of face to face. You never saw that with Mac Jones and Bill Belichick. When the day we met was the day that Mac Jones looked like he wanted us to burst out crying in front of the media in Frankfurt. No,
I shouldn't
genuinely,
laugh. It was actually sad.
really. And you compare it to the swagger he has in San Francisco now. So it is, in terms of like the cultural shift that Mike Vrabel was brought in to make. I'm definitely seeing positive signs in that respect. And as much as it was great seeing Drake May and Will Campbell hang out at the Celtics game the other night, and a lot of people are cheering them. There's a much more positive vibes in that. But in terms of the cultural difference that's happening, I mean, we have to keep looking for signposts that the Patriot way is changing, and that the post Belichick era is kicking in with a new identity, and we're seeing that, I think.
It's like Vrabel, like in anything that you do in sport when something's successful, is like he's adapted it into his own Patriot way. Like, I know it's a bit of a random comparison, but like Jennings coming in, an undrafted free agent, and getting that touchdown and working his way up through the roster. I don't know, even like when guys like Jonas Gray had 4 touchdowns against the Colts and then never, overslept the next morning. A guy Belichick would just never got another snap. But it was just like, hopefully that doesn't happen for Terrell Jennings. But what I just mean is, it is a very Patriot way of finding guys who can step up and do things. Like even Efton Chisholm, who we all spoke about loads in the preseason. All right, hasn't had loads, but now he's returning special teams. We're seeing him get a bit more involved. So I think that culture's there. Like Vrabel even said in his post-game speech in the locker room of like, everybody wants their targets, everyone wants their moment, but like you will all get that at some point. The main thing is just fine-tuning and winning. And I just love that from him. Like, he's a true leader, the same way he was when he was a player.
Yeah, interesting one was just on Post's game. I don't know what you made of the fact that you see this thing from Demario Douglas. Obviously, he had a pretty he shined at a pretty good game. He got a touchdown. He got 4 receptions for 100 yards. And he was saying afterwards that he was playing the day after his uncle was shot and killed.
Yeah.
Presumably in I don't know. I'm presuming it's in Florida, which is where he's from, but I don't actually. I need to go back and check that. That was
he was meant to go to the Tampa game. I think I heard him say, meant to meet his uncle there.
Just I just to shout that out, because that kind of thing kind of got lost in the post match sort of frenzy. That was something that was said, but on field. So just to mention, that's a remarkable.
My favorite quote he said in the interview, he was like saying that his uncle's getting like turned up in heaven. Like for like such, it's like, obviously it's a sad moment but like for a young man to still like, and he's had question marks on previously as like his role in the receiver room. So to have your first like over 100-yard game after such like a impactful thing in your life, whether you're religious or not, I think you can still appreciate it for what it is. That it was a really like huge thing for him to come up, and I was particularly pleased, especially like none of us knew, like you said, and it did get lost.
And it's interesting to say that Terrell Jennings, who also got a touchdown, himself and Demario Douglas are childhood friends from Jacksonville. So Terrell Jennings knew this man as well. So they both seem to bring something positive out of a tragic situation. So listen, fair play to for doing that. I mean, it just it takes some quite steel and resolve to be able to even play in that mental headspace, never mind to perform in the way that they did. Let's turn ahead. Bit of throwback, by the way. Is that Creamsicle Tampa Bay Buccaneers colors I see in your wall behind you?
Yes, and I can't remember if I said this when we did our opening episode when I was pulling out the memorabilia, but at this time in 2009 at Wembley, I know that we won 35-7. I'm sure it's 2009. I thought it was like a unique half and half, like American thing. I don't know if it's just old age now. I'm starting to forget, but the half and half wasn't as painful as it is now when you see,
old age. He says, old age. What are you? You're not in your
34
60s.
It's old when I'm talking about 09 NFL, I guess. No,
yeah,
I don't know.
Enough. Fair enough.
I
Fair
don't
enough.
know, maybe just a historian, as you like to say. But no, like for me, it was like an iconic piece of like, a game at Wembley was probably only the third year. Yeah, because you would have had Giants, Dolphins, Saints, Chargers, and then Pats, Tampa Bay. So then got that piece
The
of
fact that you remember the second game, because everybody knows it's Giants Dolphins being the first one. The fact you remember what the second game was, football historian, right there.
Thank you, mate. But no, it's great, and like you said, with Tampa's throwbacks, I love their throwbacks. I can't. Are they wearing them this season? They've been wearing, or was it last
They,
season?
they, they, they wore them. They wore them against the Seahawks 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
And the
like
Seahawks,
the
yeah, because
colors are
both,
great.
both both teams are celebrating their 50th anniversary, which is just like the best uniform matchup I've seen in a long time. Like, what? Why
Yeah,
did it change? There's so many teams who mess things up by changing. The Patriots obviously think did a good thing by changing from red to blue, in my opinion. But
yeah.
I think it's so many teams mess
People
things
try and
up by
modernize it, and it
yeah,
just doesn't
like
doesn't
like
work.
the Eagles changing their dark green. Nobody wanted that. The Broncos ruining the best uniform in the NFL. And they've won 3 Super Bowls since they've changed. Maybe there's a look thing to it, but like I don't know. I'm going off a side rant here
No,
again.
no, no, no. I agree. But yeah, obviously, I thought I'd pull out the scarf because we're playing them this week, and our goat Tom, or everyone's goat, played for both of these franchises.
Every everyone's going well. Both Buccaneers and Patriots. It's fun. I wonder actually would they ever consider putting Tom Brady on the call? Although it is CBS to have the rights to this game. So as you were
Yeah,
saying earlier, it's Jim Nantz and Tony Romo. Tom Brady is going to be watching Rams 49ers this week. I wonder would we ever see? Yeah, because we didn't play the Buccaneers last year. Will we ever see
probably
like Tom
play them
Brady?
like every sort of like 4 years.
Yeah, well, bit more frequently now, obviously with the new
Yeah,
with the new extra the 17th game. But um, would you reckon they'd ever put him on commentary for that matchup? And if so, what would he say? Because he'd be trying to please both fans, but quite clearly he's 1-6 and one in the other. Like
yeah. What would he say? I don't know. You probably have like eye patch on, and then a Pat Patriot. Oh no, it's
that's
not that one, but
that
like with
that
an eye patch.
that's a great Halloween costume.
Half and half. Although, says the guy with the half and half scarf. I don't know if I'm a fan of with a lot of Patriots fan with that half and half jersey.
Oh no, no, no,
That's
no.
wrong.
A scarf is memorabilia from a game. A jersey is a statement. You spend like you spend what 15 quid on a scarf. How much you spend on a half and half jersey? 10
And
times
I
that?
mean, I wanted Tampa to win the Super Bowl, of course, because it
So did I.
was
So did
yeah.
I.
But I wouldn't have bought a half and half jersey. Do you know what's actually
No. I,
interesting?
I also don't own any. I also wouldn't buy any Buccaneers gear.
Do you know you? So for a
Well,
guy who, as you
maybe a Baker Mayfield creamsicle throwback jerseys. I do
yeah,
like that.
but as you know, for a guy who has like the rule of these jerseys of players, I like to retire Tony Romo, a guy we mentioned a couple of times being one. I'd never given into like even Sports Direct was selling Brady £40 Bucs jerseys in the summer, and I was like, I don't know, he was on my team.
Yeah, but I'm like, it's not quite an Arsenal fan looking at Robin van Persie United. That's the wrong thing to look at. I mean,
It's like Steve McManaman. No, he left on a free. You guys hated him as well. I'm trying to think of.
Liverpool fans. I'm a Liverpool fan. Liverpool fans giving out so much shit to Alexander-Arnold should shut the fuck up.
What's the
Honestly.
Pats equivalent of that? I'm trying to think of someone we might have given out to who we shouldn't. Oh,
Well, I
it'd be
don't
like
think
if
so.
Gronk.
No, the equivalent is if Gronk went to the Eagles because the Eagles have beaten us in the Super Bowl the same way that that Real Madrid have beaten us in the Champions League final.
Yeah, okay.
That's what the equivalent is. The equivalent isn't the guys going to Tampa Bay because like we'd no beef for Tampa Bay, we'd no history with Tampa Bay.
Oh no, I've actually
Really,
got it. I know the equivalent. It's when Wes
go on.
Welker went to the Broncos.
Okay.
Because of and the fact that he was going to join Manning and then had that the historic season, but then they lost to the Seahawks. Then, like,
That's a good call.
admittedly, I'll be
That's
honest.
a good
I
call.
mean,
That's a good
Wes
call.
Welker had over 100 yards in this game and a touchdown. Obviously, in 09, I was buzzing to see him, but when he left, I was gutted because like Edelman hadn't established himself. Amendola was an injury-prone guy from the Rams, and he sort of left us a bit in the lurch where people were like, oh yeah, thanks, Wes. You've gone to join this new super team, the super offense. So, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good call. Again, football historian strikes again. Let's talk about this game because I said I think beforehand I was saying that out of the two of them, I was actually more confident for our ability to win this one, and the
Yeah, me
Falcons the
too.
one I was worried about. I'm not quite sure if I'm still feeling that because the Falcons couldn't really run Bijan Robinson against us. But we still allowed Michael Penix to score 3 touchdowns, even on a day when he
Mhm.
wasn't very. I know his completion percentage wasn't great. It was 22 or 37, when he wasn't very efficient, but he was allowed to be explosive. And you're against a Buccaneers team who have traded in their ability to be explosive when it matters. The reason why they're top of the NFC South at the moment, ahead of the high flying Carolina Panthers. But look at the fact they have Ibuka, who is heading towards being one of the two offensive rookie of the seasons between him and Jackson
Mhm.
Dart, I think.
Mhm.
Um,
Did you
Rashad
say that on
White.
the Irish NFL show? Because we said that on the F tag last night.
Yeah, the Irish NFL show's episode was going out at 1 o'clock Wednesday. Is we did our sort of myself and two lads did a sort of mid-season rewards
Yeah,
or
yeah.
awards. So who we think is going to be MVP? I said Josh Allen. I'm sorry.
What?
That,
It's
that was my
Drake
pre.
May and Stafford.
That was my preseason pick. Somebody else said Stafford, and somebody else said what did Ben say?
Sorry, did you say end of season or where or now? You said who you think at
If
the end.
if we were to award it now,
It's
that's
not
kind of
Josh Allen. You sell out.
I'm calling it as I see
You
it.
fuck us.
You're so frustrated. Look at Josh Allen's incredibly high completion percentage against the Chiefs the weekend was gone. Now, I'm looking forward to playing the Bills. I think we can beat them again. I'm really looking forward to it. In fact, I'm relishing at that particular matchup. And I was very frustrated at the Chiefs. The one time we needed a favor from the Chiefs and they didn't deliver, Patrick Mahomes has his worst. Yours, for people who aren't watching the video, Skye is like sitting back skulking. It's like I've just told him that fucking,
My ice
I don't
cream's
know.
melted.
I was about to say something else, but like the tooth fairy isn't actually real or something. It's just,
I'm
you know,
fuming with you. Usually, I'm the
why?
one that says things that get you to like be like, "Oh my god, how could you say that?" Like you, but the Pats
We
have got
had this
everything above
conversation
you.
last week. We had this conversation last week. I love Drake May. I wouldn't putting my journalist hat on. I wouldn't vote him in as. I wouldn't
Ken,
put him as number one on my list of MVP.
the only
He would
guy
be
above him now is Stafford.
he would be number. I would put. I'm actually if I were to put my MVP top five right now, it would be Josh Allen number one, Jonathan Taylor number two, Drake May number three, Matt Stafford number four. That's if I was voting for it now.
I'm glad you don't
I'm
get a vote. You're a
I'm
fantastic journalist, and anybody that I've
right. No,
always
no.
fully changed
Well,
the
in my
praises.
vote, I'm not just restricted to a quarterback award because if you actually look at at who's favored to win it,
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
all
yeah,
quarterbacks. It's fucking stupid.
yeah.
And
Don't
secondly,
get me started on that.
I am putting Drake May above Matt Stafford because I think the quality of passing from Drake May has been supreme. I'm still going with Josh Allen at the moment. I'm not just saying that because he was my preseason pick, and I'm just trying to save face
You're
here.
doing what I did with Joe Burrow last year, and if Joe Burrow had made the playoffs, he would have got the MVP.
Do you know what? Yeah, he would have. Would he have? I've I was on the Josh Allen for MVP train last year, but that's just because I didn't want Lamar
I
Jackson to
got
win
called the Josh Allen lover last week. Do you remember?
it.
And you have said you picked him last
You
year
do,
and this year.
you do love Josh Allen. I'm just,
I
I,
do, but you put it on me like I'm texting you daily. Oh fuck, I love Josh Allen.
you do, but see, the thing is, you were doing it from a hating the Chiefs perspective. I wanted the Chiefs to win that game because that was
No,
good
I
for us.
actually enjoyed watching them lose. So now everyone's going to now come for me saying what you wanted your rivals to win.
See, see this now you're saying what I mean. I wanted the Chiefs to win that game because we needed the Bills to lose, and I was very disappointed in how the Chiefs played. And but in my disappointment, I stood back and I was like, "Holy shit, Josh Allen played a good game." Now he's going to end up losing to the Chiefs in the playoffs because that just happens every year. Death, taxes, Easter eggs come in the springtime. Quality streets come at Christmas, and Josh Allen loses to
Ooh.
Patrick Mahomes in January. That's just the way it goes.
I've got something particularly controversial for you and for all the Pats fans
You
listening.
If you're about to tell me you don't like quality streets, I 100% agree.
No, it's not that.
Okay.
What's the strawberry cream one? Is that in the Quality Street? The red one?
Is that a Roses or is quality streets? I can't remember.
I don't know. Whatever that one is, though, that's unreal. I was gonna say, I think I would rather watch the Bills win the Super Bowl than Patrick Mahomes win another Super Bowl.
See, I can't believe you started this section being like, you're a disgrace, and you come out and say something like that. Do you know who you are? You're a boss.
I haven't committed. I'm just saying that that's how I kind of feel. And then I get to see Haley Steinfeld at the Super Bowl. Potentially. So I could tell her how much, again, like I said, how much I love her craft and her acting and her music. Exactly.
So we need to set up a poll on this, right? Let's do it on Twitter tomorrow.
Okay.
What would you rather see? Given a binary choice, let's say, for example, that the Super Bowl was against, for some reason, Donald Trump stepped in and signed an executive order saying that the NFC team has to be the New Orleans Saints. So it's obvious that whoever wins the AFC Championship game is going to win the Super Bowl.
Very good.
Right? Just hypothetically, it's a pure hypothetical, right? Considering what Trump does, you never know.
Yeah,
pure hypothetical.
A possibility. Yeah.
Right? I got it. People in Louisiana had to deal with Brian Kelly being fired. I'm giving them a role to the Super Bowl because they have the city on the
Drew Brees will be the starting quarterback.
Actually, I would pay to see that. Put him back in.
Yeah.
But so then in the AFC Championship game, you have a binary option. Whoever wins is going to win the Super Bowl. Chiefs or Bills. Now, I'm not so afraid of the dynasty or somebody else having a dynasty that I would rather see the Chiefs win than to ever see the Bills be Super Bowl champions because they're divisional rivals. And that is just not something that, as a Patriots fan, I want to see. I can live with the Chiefs winning another title. In fact, I think if the Chiefs go to the Super Bowl, whoever plays them will beat them, whether it be the Eagles, the Packers, the Lions, whoever it is. And I'm looking forward to that moment.
Oh, I'd like that.
If it happens.
Another loss for Mahomes in a Super Bowl, yeah.
Another
loss for Mahomes in a Super Bowl would be great.
That's what I mean. But like, I'm not as intolerant to their dynasty as I am to the idea of the Jets, Dolphins, or Bills winning a Super Bowl in my life.
No, not the Dolphins. I don't want to see that.
Okay, so we found your line. So if we're to give you a choice between, if Haley Steinfeld was dating Tua Tagovailoa, would you be different?
I'd be fuming, but we won't go into that. Even look, I've never said the word want. Let's not put words in my up. Even the Jets for our mate Larry. Come on. It's better than the Giants winning it again. Or is it? I don't know.
Oh Jesus! Don't make me think about either of those things happening.
Can you imagine if that was a Super Bowl?
No, I don't want to either.
That would be I'd go to New York. 100% I'd be there.
Have you seen the New York mayoral election at the moment? What's going on over there?
No, but it's the votes today, right?
Yeah. Look up Curtis Sliwa. He's the Republican candidate. He's the founder of the Guardian Angels. He goes around in a red beret all the time. Fucking hilarious. The idea of him.
Everyone back. Who is it? Tell me the name.
So there's three guys. There's Andrew Cuomo.
Yeah.
There's Zoran Mamdani.
That's the one I always hear about. This guy.
His campaign is sensational.
Okay.
Just purely in terms of how well he's run his campaign. This is my political views coming out, but purely how he's run his campaign.
Okay.
And then Curtis Sliwa is the Republican.
He's running a Josh Allen MVP type campaign. This guy.
No, because there actually isn't a debate. It's like, it's a bit like saying Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. There actually isn't a debate. That's how well it's going. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a bit like saying that Cardi B's music is way better than Taylor Swift. It's there isn't a debate.
I've been listening to so much Cardi B since.
I know you have. You've been going mad at it. Listen, we've gone down a big rabbit hole.
Yeah, no, sorry.
Right,
but
Patriots Buccaneers.
This
62
game,
Bucs,
yeah, go.
7-2 Pats. Bucs coming off a bye week, I think I'm right in saying,
Yeah.
and the previous week they played against the Saints, so they're coming off 2 bye weeks. Tell us what we're looking for.
Well, I've seen, I would say roughly, if I was being a neutral, I reckon you'd go about 60-40 for Tampa. I think people will see what happened against the Falcons and say, oh, chink in the armor, they might have won, but the Bucs are a better team. I think, look, I'm probably stating the obvious here. I think the key to the game is Egbuka and Tez Johnson. Tez Johnson's gone under the radar. Obviously, he's come out of Oregon, so I've watched him more than a lot of people from the rookie draft class. But for guys like Godwin to still be injured, Mike Evans hurt, Jalen McMillan still on IR with his neck injury. They've been making it work. I know Egbuka, I think, was quiet before the bye, but I would anticipate that they'll come out slinging the ball because they would have seen, like you said, they would have seen the tape of what Penix was able to do. And as much as I like those skill players on the Falcons and I was worried about them, I think we know how much of a fan I am of Baker Mayfield. The big one for me is Bucky Irving. He might be back. I think if he's not back, we still win. I would be because we've been good against elite running backs all year. He's good, but I think that if he's out, then we can almost not have to worry about their rushing attack, and maybe can bend don't break defense. If we can hold off in the red zone, then I'm still confident enough in our offense to get things done, because Todd Bowles also likes to blitz a lot, and Drake May has been able to pick up that well for a young quarterback. So I think there's going to be some big play opportunities for us as well offensively.
Yeah, I'm looking at this one, and I think there's a potential for both teams to put up a lot of points here, especially considering that as we're sitting here, we're not quite sure if Christian Gonzalez is going to be fit. I know I think he got a head injury. He says that he's okay, but it's not certain as we're recording here. And look, even if he ends up playing, how many snaps can he really be on the field for? And I think the impact he has on the defense, especially the pass defense, was going to be very important against Baker Mayfield. Is going to be really important. I'll be honest, right? If I'm looking at what the keys to the game are, I'm just trying to figure out who are the difference makers going to be. I've seen more of them in Tampa Bay, and I'm conscious that look, they're coming off a bye week. Ramon Stevenson and Kayshon Boutte are coming in questionable, although I think Boutte is more likely to be playing out of those two. And he was came out of the game pretty early against Atlanta. It's in Tampa. They know that they're pushing for a Super Bowl place. I think there's a big buzz about this, and as well as that, because this is not quite prime time, but you're putting the Patriots on a big pedestal here. The CBS #1 team. They're facing against this. This is the toughest game they played all year. Because let's be fair about this, even when we went to Buffalo, that wasn't the best version of Buffalo that we saw them play. If the Buccaneers come out and play as we can, this is the toughest game that the Patriots have played, certainly in the last few weeks anyway, in the last month or so since Buffalo. Those two are the two toughest. Who's going to make the difference and push Baker Mayfield? He pushes back. Push Emeka Egbuka, he becomes incredibly physical in how well he can make plays. Tez Johnson as well, I think, is somebody who can be interesting. And Cade Otton is another fantastic thing. So I'll be honest, I'm not confident about this one. I'm confident we can be close. I think it can be a good run game. I'm not writing anything off in particular, but as we're gonna try and wrap up this podcast fairly briefly, because now we're in the habit of doing them more often. We can do more, and we can keep them slightly more condensed, because we're going to be in Berlin over the weekend. Looking forward to seeing you, by the way.
Yes, it'll be great.
We'll have to find some way to see this properly after the game. But if I'm putting made of my cutters to the mass here, I think the Buccaneers are going to win this game, but I'm not confident in that. If I'm being honest, I can just see them having more energy to make plays against a Patriots team who, still have their bye week to come ahead, and will still have a lot of great momentum. But this might be a game that we'll look back at the end of the season as being a learning curve game in a couple of key situations for our defense against Baker Mayfield.
I think as long as, like with the other losses, as long as it's one score, you can take positives from it, because one score, regardless of mistakes, means that you found a way, at least probably on both sides of the ball, to keep it close. Yeah, I'm a bit torn because obviously I had us losing to the Falcons and beating the Bucs pre-season, but then even on Sunday when I doubled down on that, I did sit on the sofa at the start of the game and think we probably will beat the Falcons and it'll be tough against Tampa. But I'm still confident. I mean, and it would be great to get that 7th win. I know I said it in the post match like reaction video when the ones that we've been doing posting that this would be our longest win streak since 2021 from that Matt Jones rookie year. So I hope so. Just for I don't know, it's good for the narrative. But if not, we've got the Jets on a short week. We don't need to talk about it now. But after the trades today, I would say that even though you spoke about it potentially being a trap game, you'd like to hope that
my
now.
view on the Jets has changed quite quickly now.
Yeah. So whatever happens on Sunday, let's just hope it's close. We go from there, short week, and then we can rest up before the bigger ones come along.
The big one being the Giants, so that's the one we want. So
well,
the rest of the schedule is Jets and Thursday night football at the Bengals, Giants, week off. So we have our bye week in December.
Then Ravens, Bills.
Then Bills, then Ravens, then Jets, then Dolphins. So we've a nice two handy ones at the end between the Jets and the Dolphins, but we've a couple of tricky ones in between. So
we've got to surely be like 11 wins minimum now. If when you look at those games, you'd even hope 12 realistically.
7. I mean, what if you can beat the Jets twice, beat the Dolphins, and beat the Bengals at minimum? That's 4 more.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, and like we said, we'd hope to steal one of the Ravens Bills one just for the whole narrative and going into the playoffs. So, yeah, I mean, look, let's see what happens on Sunday.
It's amazing I didn't chalk with the Giants being a win, but that's just the nature of the New York Giants. Right, Skye, thank you very much for taking the time. Can't wait to see you in person again this weekend in Deutschland. Probably not saying that right, but screw it.
It will be it's better than Drake May's one. Love you, Drake, but I heard your. Heard it, Deutschland, and it will be a wunderbar weekend, I'm sure, mate.
Wunderbra, right? And on that note, we started with Cardi B and ended with Wunderbra. That's the kind of show we are. And that note, thank you very much for listening to Pat's Pals. Good man.